Welcome to another Demarcation Media LEGO review. Today we have a set that is so big that I can barely fit it in my studio. This is the new 2024 LEGO City Space Base and Rocket Launchpad. This is the biggest set out of the Space Wave. So let's take a look at the box real quick. We've got the really nice space branding on the side. City there, I really don't think we need the city branding, but you know, whatever. The landscape is really cool. We got little aliens coming out of the glowy purple cracks. There's a guy sitting up there. The rocket is launching. At the top, we see all the figures. And then around the back, we have all of the set details. Really, really nice looking box. I dig it. I don't keep boxes, but this one kind of makes me want to keep it. The set includes 4 instruction booklets. And you could theoretically build all of these simultaneously. So you could have 4 people building all at the same time. This is the main bulk of the set. The ship is separate and the truck and landscape is separate. If you did have 4 people building, somebody would be stuck with this sad little launch ramp. But it's kind of nice that you get that option. And here is the set in its entirety. There's kind of a lot here. There's a lot of figures, a lot of little builds, and some very large builds. So let's go ahead. I think we'll look at the figures first, even though I feel like these builds are almost cooler than the figures, but we'll see. Let's jump in and look at those figures. So our first brave explorer here is a pilot. The blue coloring denotes a pilot. They all have this dual molded helmet that has been in other space lines, but this is the first time we've gotten it with these colors. This particular pilot has this little jetpack, maybe EVA maneuverability pack. I don't really know exactly what it's supposed to be, but it's a really cool piece, and you can strap stuff onto it if you want to. This is a great figure. It's pretty much the same. Like all the astronauts share the same torso and legs, and they just have different arms and gear. And I really like the pilot's color scheme. Definitely gives me Galaxy Squad vibes. What I do not like is this head. It has a little hearing aid on the side of the head. The astronaut from the mech also has that. I don't like that very much. I mean, it could be an earpiece, but like glasses, hearing aids, that's just not the sort of thing that astronauts can wear. Typically, anyways. Maybe in the future they can. But this face is not good. All the copies I've seen of it, this eye on this side is like smaller than this eye, and it's like crooked, and I've not seen a copy of this head that actually looks good. Like at first glance, it's like, oh, it's fine, but then you look at it and it's like, ooh, what is wrong with her eyes? So that's kind of a bummer. I'm probably going to swap this head off as soon as I'm done with the review. But other than that, this is an awesome figure. It's still a little unclear to me what roles the green astronauts play in the whole mission, but they definitely seem to be the boots on the ground, researchers, engineers. Some people have called them mission specialists, so maybe that's what they are. Definitely, again, Galaxy Squad vibes. We have extra armor for these guys, or I should say this guy and this lady, which I actually find this really interesting. It's like an older lady. This one astronaut is an older lady, which is very interesting to me. I really like this guy's head. I think that's a pretty cool head. I like his expression. They don't get extra faces at all, which is, it's fine. The backpacks, though, are pretty cool. They have like these solar panels, so I guess these are for extended trips out onto the surface. And then the one dude on this side has a little metal detector. My only real complaint about these is that a lot of LEGO's new visors, and this kind of applies to all the helmets where it folds, they're very loose. Like I remember when they used to have friction and you could like push it down. Now they almost just flop open and shut on their own, which is frustrating to me. Other than that, though, really neat looking. I like the armor pieces that they've got. They definitely look ready to go out there and explore the surface. The miners are definitely my favorite of the 3 task forces on this particular mission. So this is a nice figure to get. I really like this whole getup. The new helmet is fantastic. And actually, it was pointed out to me in my last video that I had the visor on wrong. I put it on the right way. You're actually supposed to put it on upside down, which I believe is a first, and it just changes the way the helmet looks. So that's awesome. I love the print on the front here. The torso underneath is the same as what we've seen. This time we've got a little bit of bulk added to the backpack. Her head looks very determined. She is ready for anything. I like this head a lot better than the pilot's head. Really, really nice figure. And again, the miners are my favorite faction here. So here's another miner, but this is a little bit different. And there's something that I haven't really seen people talk about, is the fact that there are three, like, I don't know what you want to call them, elite versions of each faction. So this is the elite miner. In the interstellar spaceship, you get an elite pilot, and in the space station, you get an elite mission specialist. The elites are denoted by the darker helmet and darker arms, which is really cool. They're spread throughout those three sets, and this guy was one of the reasons that I actually purchased this set, because he just looks so flipping cool. First of all, I love this helmet. This color for this helmet, that's fantastic. So good. His face is really interesting. I don't know if it's been in anything else. I think it has, but I'm not super up to date on all that. So that's pretty cool. I like the different color arms. He's got gold hands, and then he's got one arm that's like reinforced. It's like I don't know what you want to call it, maybe exoskeleton. And then he's got a drill hand that can be attached on there, so that he's got a drill arm, so that he is the mining machine. Back is bulked up, and the torso is just the same as everybody else. But these different colors and the fact that he's got the drill arm makes this figure a real standout in this whole lineup. Next up, we have the mission commander, the space admiral, whatever you want to call him. This dude was kind of the other thing that swayed me into finally buying the set. Like, I was going back and forth, should I buy it, should I not? But this dude really caught my eye, and then this guy did too. He is way different than all the rest of the space people. I mean, look at this. That's the normal, just astronaut suit, and that's his. Like, who is this guy? He looks like something out of Space Police, and he doesn't look like he would be necessarily one of the good guys. Like, he looks really kind of scary. He's got gold accents on his torso. It's got the similar like patterns on the stomach there. The space logo seems to be glowing. I don't know if it's a powered armor suit or something. He's got the little epaulets here. He's got a little cane. That's one of the Harry Potter wands, actually. He's just so intimidating. Like, this is frightening. He's got the white gloves. I assume those would be armored. And then he's got the same helmet as the pilot, but instead of having a full face visor, he's got a smaller visor. It's in gold with black, and then you can flip the visor up. And then underneath, so we have a few additional like sub figures. We get two aliens. These guys are really kind of adorable. They're really clever building. They're just a minifigure head on top of a stud with a hole on top of a crown that I believe came from the Angry Birds line to start off with. I think it was like the King Pig's crown. The face prints are really nice. They have print on the front and the back, and they just look really nice. They're really cool. I really wanted to get a pair of these ones. I got one of the chubby aliens from the Juniors set. You can also get that from the Friends set, although we're not going to talk about Friends. So it's nice to have the two different variants, and it would be cool to see even maybe a bigger version too. I don't know if LEGO's going to continue this past this wave, but it would be cool. These aliens seem to be generally fairly peaceful, which is kind of nice. You can see on the box, they're kind of interfering with the miner a little bit, knocking the stuff out of her hands, or maybe she's just really startled by their appearance. So there's that, but like for the most part, they seem to be pretty peaceful, which is nice because a lot of LEGO's other space themes, the aliens are violent or just straight up trying to eat humanity. So it's nice to see these guys who are maybe, if not friendly, they're at least peaceable little guys. And then we have this robot here that's meant to accompany the mission specialists, because you can see the little green on top, although you could swap that if you wanted to. And I really like this. There's a little battery on the back. It seems rather exposed, but it does the job, I guess. That's what powers it. It's a printed piece. He's got little tiny stubby arms. He's got a little eye that the box shows him scanning with it. And then you have these treads that can be articulated separately, which is cool. And he can rotate, which I think adds a lot to this whole build. You can add a lot of expression to the figure as long as you don't break the treads like I'm doing now. But yeah, you can like have him going over things. Basically, you can do whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of options with this little guy, and I was expecting to kind of just put it off to the side and ignore it, but it's a really, really nice little build. Moving on to the builds, we get this little piece of terrain, which I'm so glad LEGO has been including terrain in these sets, but I really want more. Like, I would have loved more terrain. This is kind of cool, though. We have some sort of a pool of water, I'm guessing, or some fluid. It's like a hot spring almost. That's what it's making me think of. And then in there is actually an amoeba, which is kind of cool. You get actually 2 in the set, 1 from the extras and 1 here. So that's pretty slick. I like the colors here. I like the use of parts. The bright orange and then this darker orange is cool. And then we get this little build here with an alien plant, which has a translucent, shiny, like, leaf, which is kind of awesome. And then we get a crystal in here. So you turn this gear on the back. Oh wait, I'm turning it the wrong way. I keep doing that. It makes me want to turn it so it like launches, but that's not actually what you do. You actually have to go like that. And then the crystal is revealed on its little blue pedestal, which is really cool. So we'll see later that the astronauts are using both the plants and the crystals to make batteries. And one set I know has this big pink crystal, which I do want to look at some point, but we'll see if that happens. But yeah, this is a really nice side build. I just want more terrain, please. The next build is this space truck, and I'm not a huge fan of this. The front looks rather flat and boxy, but like it's grown on me a little bit. You're just driving around. It's got some space for stuff here. You can hold stuff on the back. There's the battery unit, and it can be easily removed to swap it out when they die, I guess. You can pop the roof off and put a figure inside, although, and I know Jang pointed this out in his set review, if you want to get a figure inside, you probably have to take a side off because it's rather difficult to get the figure seated while putting them in just through the top. But we can do that. Figure is inside. There's some lights on the front. It's a little weird to me that there's nothing in the windows. This is not a sealed cab vehicle, which is odd to me. I would have liked to see something like that. But it's not a bad build. It's kind of nice to have around, and the awkward design, I guess, kind of lends itself to the space stuff. So it's not my favorite, but it's fine. It's fine. And we get the space print on both sides, which is pretty awesome. So this was another thing that finally swayed my decision to buy this. Not really the launch pad, the ship itself. We'll look at the ship in just a second. I want to give this a quick rundown. This feels entirely useless to me. The ship can be launched once from it, but this doesn't like level out. I would really love it to like level out so it can land back on it. It's just like once it launches, there's not any way for you to like get it back on without just setting it back on and then going again. So, and there's not even any fun real gimmick, because like if you start sliding it, it wants to fall off the side. I don't know. It feels like a waste of parts. Like you can do that and it looks cool on there, but it just feels like a waste of parts. I would have loved this parts budget to go into more terrain, or actually into the ship itself, which we'll talk about in just a second. I mean, it looks fine. We have a battery here. I thought this was supposed to be one battery full, one empty, but I think it's actually a crystal battery and a plant battery in the same unit. So they're kind of experimenting there. That part, it could be better. I don't feel the need to actually have this. Like this is redundant and kind of useless. This ship though is pretty cool. It's rather chubby, but it is like a cargo ship. So this is, I think, meant to be carrying these units. So this comes off, and this is one of the units that attaches to the space station. You can also attach it to the base itself, but we'll look at that later. So the idea, I'm guessing here, is that this is a shuttle that will go up to the space station, grab whatever unit is necessary, and come down to the ground, and they can unload the supplies from the unit or attach the unit directly to the base, which is cool. This has a little hinge on the top, and you can pop this like study unit out That's pretty cool. You got space in there. Plenty of space. You could fit a couple figures in there if you wanted to, or that, or a pallet. We have the airlock attachment here. This doesn't hinge open, but you can pull it off, so you can seal the one side. The ship itself looks kind of awkward without the pod in there. It's an interesting design, but it looks awkward without it. Pretty spacious cockpit, very nice little control panel there, and there are 2 battery units to fly this. I guess this thing needs a lot of power. We have some engine intakes with some blue pieces there. I really like the shaping of the wings, the angle. The thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and let me plug that back in so you can kind of get a better idea, is the engines. I am very glad LEGO actually did put engines, because they have left engines off on some ships before, like the Phantom 2 just doesn't have any engines. So I'm glad that they thought about it, but I really would have loved to see more robust engines, because like this is a chunky ship. It needs a lot of power to get off the ground, and those just don't look like they're cutting it. Just not really. Also, the intakes I feel like should have been the same color as the back, but maybe that's just me. So yeah, I feel like having the engines come out a little bit more and fill out the space under here better would have been nice. I mean, the underside looks fine. It feels like the engines need to be bigger, and there's space for them to do it. And I feel like all of this part budget here could have been better suited into making a slightly larger terrain and a slightly more robust engine build. And I would have been very happy with that. Other than that, though, I really love the silhouette of this. I like that it feels spacious and it's not just a single-seater, like, zoom-around ship. It actually feels like it can carry cargo and actually help people explore. So I'm a big fan of this. The engines irk me and could have been done better. The other thing I almost forgot to point out is, like, if you're holding it on the back here, like if a kid grabs it on the back here, you're going to lose your actual ship and just end up flying this pod around. I feel like there should have been all 4 attachment points there, but then that might have made it too hard to get off. I don't know. That might be just me nitpicking, but I do feel like that pops off too easily, and if a child is playing with it, it might frustrate them. And now we get to the base itself. I want to start at the bottom because this is too tall for me to properly show off all at once. But design-wise, this looks really good. We have these struts coming down on these like hydraulic arms. You can't actually move them up and down. They're fixed in place, although you can rotate them if you want to. It looks like this was maybe dropped in pieces from orbit, which is awesome. That's such a cool idea. Rotating it around, you can see this is a window here. It's kind of hard to see through. We got another window here, and we have an airlock on this side. Oops, I don't want to hinge it open yet. And then we have like the main airlock here. There's a battery, which I would assume helps power some of the life support and also maybe powers the door. This door is super cool. It's so simple. It's literally just a slot and you can just pull it, but it's so satisfying. This looks great, and just that whole movement there, that's just really cool. And if kids want to play with it with the door open, you can just take the door off and put it back on later. I think that works out pretty well. The airlock here just pops open like that, and here is where the other unit comes into play. Obviously, you would probably want the pegs, but you can just kind of put that on like that and then put it down. So then you can kind of expand the base that way, and if you get the space station, you could continue just making one long hallway added on there. But like I said, the ship does look a little weird without it, so I like to leave it on. You can pop it open like this. It comes open in 3 sections. This section is a little research area and like medical bay, I guess. That's kind of what I'm seeing by the heart rate and poop schedule. I think that's a poop schedule there, which is a little bit weird. And then here we get to see a little thing showing how the plants and the crystals can be used to make batteries. And then we get a microscope studying what looks to be a piece of the plant. The middle section is a little harder to access, but you got this turntable here that allows you to put gear on. So we can grab one of the green members here, pop off her armor, and then you can place the armor on here. Pop that open, put the armor on, close it down over top. And so now they can kind of have their stuff there while they rest. However, and this is a complaint that I've heard a lot of people make, there are no hair pieces in this set, so if you take off their helmets, they're all just bald, which is a little weird. There's the window back there, and then we can just close that side, move this way, and then this is like the mess hall, I guess. There's like hot and cold water off on the side. There is one of the aliens giving a sandwich on this screen, which is kind of funny. I guess they're not all that scared of the aliens. And then speaking of the sandwich is here. This must be like a really good delicacy. There's like tomato and lettuce on it, because out in space, it's hard to carry fresh food. And then on this side, we have a music player, which is pretty cool. Makes me think of Interstellar, when they were playing like the Earth sounds while they were traveling, just to make themselves feel more at home. Something I have noticed with this set is the pieces seem to like to separate more than usual. I don't know if that's just me not being careful with it or what. So that's the main level there. And then when you move up here, we've got this central column, which is really sturdy. You can pick the whole thing up by it. This spins all the way around, which is cool. You can make the string longer. The crane itself can also ratchet out a bit. We can lower that down, and then we can, well, yeah, there's nothing to stop it from popping out. So you can extend it out to around there, which is pretty good. That's a pretty huge range of motion, which is slick. There's not a ton for you to hold. I do wish like the unit on the ship, the little pod that comes off, had something for this crane to hook onto, because it would be really cool to have it like lift it off the ship and bring it around and like drop it. But you get this little palette here. I don't like this yellow color that they chose. It makes it look like the rocks of the planet when I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be. But we get another crystal and another little plant, which is cool. And then we have the control tower. So let's get up there. Okay, so up top here, we have 8 of these windscreen pieces making up the 360-degree watchtower, control tower. I guess control tower is a better way to say it. I really love the design here. It's giving me Power Miners vibes with just all the angles. I love it. This would be something younger me would have been losing my mind over. There's a little bit of detail on the top. There's like ventilation units and whatnot in gold, which is pretty cool. And then at the top, we have this kind of overbuilt satellite dish, which rotates around, and there's a bunch of Harry Potter wands. Looks really cool. And then this just lifts off. There's no studs holding it in place. And then, let me see, can I get a look inside? There you go. You can see all the seats in there. There's some stickers and some prints. There's one of the interstellar spaceship. Around the other side, it shows the command base communicating with the space station in orbit, which is pretty cool. There's really no way for the figures to traverse from the lower section to the upper section. I just kind of am imagining this would be, an elevator in the middle. I think that makes the most sense. I don't think kids will care, and I think it looks good enough that anybody who wants this for display also really won't care that much. Well, there you have it. That is the Space Base and Rocket Launchpad. This set retails for like $140 US, which feels pretty decent to me. It's got 1,422 pieces. So that feels like it checks out. The amount of stuff feels like it checks out. That ramp just feels like a lot of wasted space to me. So that, like I said, would have really liked to see that ramp taken away, the ship's thrusters built up a bit more, and more terrain. Other than that, I really like this set. This is the kind of thing, like I said, younger me would have been losing it over this set. So cool. It makes me think that Power Miner bases and the Space Police like headquarters and all that sort of stuff. So this is awesome. This whole space theme is one of the most awesome things LEGO has done lately, and I'm all on board with it. Something I didn't show, this is perfectly set up to set here, and you can also put it inside the pod if you want to. So yeah, figure selection is really good. Like I said, the pilot's head is meh, and it always seems to be meh. I've never seen a good print of that head. But other than that, so good. Just really good. Hair pieces would have been great, but I don't feel like it hurts the set too much without it. It would have been good for at least a few people like the miners, since their visors can't flip up, but it's just, they're so cool. The Elite Miner and the Admiral are definitely my 2 favorite figures, and honestly, I feel like they're standouts of the whole figure lineup for this whole line, especially the Admiral. I think classic space fans will definitely want to get that guy, And yeah, the whole thing is just really good. So if you haven't bought anything Lego in a while, if you've just been buying Mega, or if you've been just buying Lego Star Wars or something, give this a try. This is super cool. I had a lot of fun building it. It's really just goes together quick and easy. And like I said, you can have multiple people building with you. So it's kind of a win-win. I would say give it a try. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.